This content is brought to you in part by Real Marketing, the only marketing firm recommended exclusively by the Institute. Real Marketing utilizes over 25 years of expertise, and their products are built and customized for you to dominate any neighborhood, anywhere. Go to realmarketing4u.com. That's realmarketing4u.com. Also, look for past A State of Mind episodes with CEO David Collins as our guest. Maria, welcome to the podcast. We're so glad to have you.
Great to be here, Tami. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
So I'd like for our audience to know a little bit about you in terms of where your market area is and the types of properties and price points that you tend to work in.
Great. I practice real estate on North Shore of Long Island. We are approximately 30 miles outside of New York City and 60 miles to the Hamptons. We are gold of the Gold Coast, and since we're all familiar with Great Gatsby, this is exactly the area where Great Gatsby got inspiration from and was written. So that's my market area. I'm in the business for almost 20 years. Prior to my real estate career, I was on Wall Street. I was managing portfolio of 130 banks located in Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Russia, all the countries of the former Soviet Union. So it was a phenomenal career, but I also had to travel a lot on business and be away from my family. So once children came into my life, everything changed, and we moved to North Shore of Long Island, and that's how I started developing my real estate career. In terms of properties that I represent, there's a variety of different price points because I always say that luxury segment of the market is extremely important to me, and that's where most of my transactions take place. However, we're very diversified and also handle markets that are below $1 million, where different lot sizes. North Shore of Long Island is very diverse. It could be Roslyn area where we have smaller lots under, let's say, half an acre, and those price points about $1 million to $2 million. Then we move to, let's say, Old Westbury area where it's 2 acre zoning, and then we have prices between $2.5 and $4 million. And then we move to larger estates with the price points north of $5 million.
Wow, that is a really diverse market area then.
Certainly.
So I want to talk just a moment about your professional background, as you alluded to. So you are very highly educated. You have an MBA in International Business and Finance and a bachelor's degree in Industrial Management. So tell me how those types of training and education come into play with your real estate profession.
Well, I always look at the role of the real estate professional, real estate broker as an advisor. In today's environment, and frankly always, we're dealing with very sophisticated, successful, and savvy clients, whether sellers or buyers. I don't think anyone needs anymore for someone to show this is the kitchen, this is the bathroom. What really people need these days, our clients, is the advice. A role of trusted advisor. That's how I truly see our profession and where we're moving towards to, because we have tremendous amount of information coming at us. And all of our clients, they have sea of this information. So where we come in is to educate and to navigate through these dynamics and being able to apply specific information to their unique situation. So how Wall Street comes into that role of advisor, role of having a financial background, I think it's extremely important because I looked at each and every transaction from the business perspective as well. What makes sense, what doesn't make sense. And when you come in with that experience and expertise, clients really appreciate that.
Wow, that makes quite a bit of sense. And so you shared with us why you made the transition, and that also makes perfect sense. So let's talk a little bit about how you made the transition in terms of adopting the luxury mindset within the real estate industry, as opposed to the financial and investment background.
That's a great question. And frankly, I can talk about it for a long time. It was not an easy transition. So when I started my real estate career, we moved into the area that was new to me. I did not really have any network or sphere of influence for that matter. I did not belong to any of the fancy country clubs or had, belonged to some organizations, so on and so forth. I had a newborn and everything that comes with it. But one thing I know, I always wanted to stay in the professional world and continue with my education as well as developing my career. So what happened, I need to learn how to differentiate myself very quickly because I couldn't become just yet another broker where we all know that this industry is flooded with new people coming into the business, and some of them stay, but 90% of them don't. And so, what I really learned very quickly is that differentiating myself is the key to my success. Um, I read a book about how to really do it. And frankly, you got to use what you have. We tend to concentrate, oh, I don't have the experience or expertise just yet, so on and so forth. But what do you really have? And what I've had is my international background, and I also had my financial background. And this is exactly what I did to separate myself from the rest of the competition and to adapt that luxury mindset because international and luxury always comes hand in hand. And I think that that's what took place in my case.
And I hope that the audience took away from that something really, really critical, not focusing on what you don't have and capitalizing on what you do. Thank you for bringing that front and center because I hear that a lot from our members who are looking to increase their price point or maybe who are newer to this profession from another. And that's something that I always encourage them to do is take advantage of the skill sets and the assets that they bring. So
Absolutely.
from there, you mentioned that you weren't yet part of the community. You didn't have connections locally, or belong to any of those organizations. So how did you accomplish that? What kinds of things did you do to build your local connections and grow your sphere of influence?
It was a process, very methodical. I started to develop this relationship, started to join different groups, both professional and personal. Also, was very much involved in the community as well, both through the real estate community as well as being a parent, schools, so on and so forth. But I also think that what truly helped is the way I looked at my business. It was never just a hobby. From day one, I was very methodical and I was building what I have now pretty much brick by brick. And I must say that continue to educate myself. Even today, I consider myself a student of life, especially in ever-changing industry. And today, with the technology and um, so much new and exciting stuff and information and tools that are coming into our industry, I think it's more than ever, more important than ever to stay cutting edge and continue to educate myself. So if I have to attribute my success, I would definitely say it's the level of education, even within the real estate industry. Learning new things, learning from the best, attending different seminars. And I must say that Luxury Marketing Institute played tremendous role and tremendous part of me coming to the level of experience and expertise and success that we exhibit right now.
Well, I know that I feel the same way about my involvement with the institute and what I have gained, including relationships with professionals like you from around the world.
Thank
Um,
you.
you made a good point again that I want to reinforce, and that is that even when you are at a level of success, there's always more to learn. Think about how different the market is now from what we've seen in the past 2 decades, and the idea that it's going to look entirely different in the future. So the importance of continually educating and learning new things is really critical.
It
And
is
I think
absolutely critical.
it is, and I think that it's so important, not just adopting the luxury mindset, but staying there and staying
Staying
current.
there, elevating your game. And the minute we think we know it all, game over.
That's right.
So
That's right. So your credo is locally known, globally connected. And you've leveraged your international background to develop client relationships around the world and to foster those relationships. So tell us a little more about that and the impact that it has on your overall profession.
great. To me, I never really positioned myself as a local broker, even though our markets are micro local, and it's extremely important to have knowledge of each and every transaction and nuance of specific marketplace. I always looked at my clientele as not just local, but also national and international. What you just mentioned, Tami, in terms of relationships that were created with the brokerage community, both through the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, as well as my international organizations such FIAPSI and other organizations, I think helped me gain that confidence that no matter where the real estate needs are for a specific client, we're able to manage expectations and also help with these needs and wants. And so, for example, right now, I see where the trends are and where my clients, once you meet with them, most of them have multiple residences, right? So for North Shore of Long Island, most of my clients also have a home in New York City, perhaps the Hamptons. It's definitely now South Florida. So I find that, especially with international buyers, really kind of sending them off or referring them might not be the greatest idea. You need to stay involved because they develop that level of trust with you as an individual. So as long as you're involved in holding their hand and partnering with someone in other parts of the country or the world for that matter, I think that will allow you to achieve a level of success in each and every transaction. So that is my view. I go where my clients are. We are now as a company, and I'm with Douglas Elliman Real Estate for the last 10 years of my career. Great brand, and we can talk a little bit more about that. But we are strategically now in all of the parts of the country where our clients are. We're in Florida, we're in California, we're extremely strong in New York. We just opened up offices in Texas, and so on and so forth. And our international partner, which is Knight Frank in London, that gives us that reach and resources pretty much in 65 different countries of the world. I think this is extremely important because especially on a certain level of clientele, high net worth individuals, they experience that from other industries and other brands. And I think that level of expectations is also being transitioned into our industry.
I think you've made some very, very important points about perhaps the difference in the long term relationship with your international clients or those who have multiple properties and their level of expectation being more than just sending them a referral and handing them off, but remaining involved. And I don't think that any of them expect us to actually be the feet on the ground handling the nuances of the transaction, but to know that we're there as a resource. I think
Correct.
that is a really important part of having that mindset to offer that level of service to those particular clients. I think that that's great. And you mentioned the support from your brand, and of course we don't want to specifically call out any brokerages or brands as being better than others, but you alluded to the level of support that is necessary to service the high end clientele, and particularly the international clientele. And I remember talking with you a decade ago when you made that transition, and so I'm curious to know what parts of the brokerage support are most important to you in the luxury arena, and just how important is that?
I think this is extremely important, and I experienced that in my own instance, in my own space. We, being real estate professionals, often think that it's really me and not the company. And certain, perhaps it's the truth to a certain extent, because if I like you as a broker, often I don't care which company you work for. But
Sure.
if I don't like you as a broker, I most definitely don't care which company you work for. And that's for a while, I thought that that's how it should be. With all my respect to all the competitors and my previous affiliations, I must say that only if and when I moved under Douglas Elliman umbrella, I truly experienced that when clients like me as a broker, and now they love the brand that behind me, that's when magic happens. Therefore, the importance of brand with name and reputation behind us as brokers, I believe, is extremely important. And when your vision is in alignment, when your integrity is in alignment with your brand that's behind you as a bigger company, I think that it's just a home run. My business, for example, tripled since I moved to Douglas Elliman. My business really expanded to other territories. My business expanded tremendously into new development space, which I probably couldn't even dream of if I would be still with my previous engagement. So the answer is I am very bullish on the brand, and I'm very bullish on the alignment. And I think that that's truly an elevation of me as the real estate professional. I stay very proud on the shoulders of my brand.
And having that feeling, regardless of who the brand is, or even if it's a boutique brokerage, having that level of satisfaction and alignment with the brand is really empowering for one's personal success. And of course, we spend a lot of time in the training talking about building a luxury brand, and many of our audience are with a larger brand. Many are independent and can be very successfully so. But building that brand and that level of trust within their community can be absolutely critical. And certainly the vision, the mission, the core values, that alignment, and the identification of where one wants to be can play into that entirely. So I feel like we're on the right track with the training, and that can be manifested in so many different ways. You
Absolutely.
you also mentioned that you are continually taking advantage of resources and education and conferences within the real estate industry, and I'm curious to know, how do you leverage your membership in the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, your designation and guild status, and what other types of resources do you utilize from within the industry?
I utilize a lot of resources of the Luxury Home Marketing Institute. And for me, it's truly a foundation. In terms of education, pretty much you've covered everything. In any question I have, I can go into the library, watch the webinar, go to the YouTube channel. So it's a huge support that Institute provides for its members. I also, my favorite tool, if I can just pick and choose one, is the luxury market reports. And I absolutely use them on a daily basis. They are part of my listing presentations. They are part of my mailers. They are part of my follow-up campaign with my buyers that have purchased from me in the last 20 years. So every month, for example, I take the specific let's say neighborhood or a street and see who purchased at what time, and I will send them a little note. And part of that package would always be a luxury market report from the institute. I also I know for the last couple of years, we lost the luxury of being together in larger gatherings. So hopefully, world, it's coming back to its own kind of space where we can resume. And I am very much looking forward to the actual networking and interaction, because that is absolutely invaluable in terms of exchange of information, experience, and expertise, and being in a safe space to share, not with your direct competition, but with your co-opetition in certain ways, but more importantly, with your colleagues that continue to be my inspiration as well. And then, of course, deepen the relationships. In fact, if I look at my personal relationships within the industry with brokers around the world, and in within US as well, most of my the most important connections and relationships, in fact, came through the Institute.
I'm glad you said that because I feel the same way. And I know that our members are anxious to get back to that opportunity for in-person, for meeting new members, and also for deepening those relationships as you meet again. So
Absolutely.
I am with you there. And I'm also glad that you called out the luxury market report, because I also utilize that in a variety of ways to share particular expertise with my professional sphere of influence, financial advisors, and that sort of thing, but also for clients, particularly those that own multiple properties and they have an interest in what's happening in other parts. And I think it's a resource that members, even as they're making the efforts to learn more about the higher price points and to educate themselves, that luxury market report is an incredible tool for understanding the nuances of what happens as the price point goes up, right? We get so inundated with local news and information about the real estate market. And it's an incredible tool for really honing one's skills in the upper price points. So I'm
Right.
really
And
glad.
in addition to that, it also gives you instant credibility, because again, that elevates you instantly into that luxury real estate advisory role, where it's all about the numbers. And these reports are super comprehensive, and they're based on a specific MLS statistics. And it looks like you spent days putting them together, and all you have to do is press the button, and that's awesome. So thank you for that.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, and we'll be sure to pass that on to the folks that do spend weeks gathering that information, so that we have the luxury of hitting the button and sending it out. And
You're doing an
um,
incredible job. Please send them my regards.
I agree, and I'm sure that they'll hear that. So I'd like to ask a little bit about balance. You mentioned early on that when you started in the real estate industry, when you made that transition, that you had a newborn. And I know from conversations that we've had recently, you've got college on your hands now, and it's been a pleasure to see your children come along throughout the years as you've attended some of the institute events. Tell us how now you are managing the balance with what your family needs and what you need personally with the demands of a very sophisticated clientele.
So time flies when you have fun. My newborn at that time is freshman right now in college. In fact, in 2 days, I'm flying to pack her because the first year is over. It's unbelievable how quickly time passes. Um, I have a unique kind of vision about balance. I think that sometimes us trying to bring more balance into our lives creates a little bit more stress because, oh my God, I'm supposed to be balanced, but look at me again. I work long hours or whatnot. So I once heard from someone, I don't recall where, but I thought that was absolutely brilliant. That if we look at a week as a balanced week versus looking at a day as a balanced day, we will have a lot better chance of succeeding in that life kind of work, business versus personal balance. So before I talk about balance between work and personal, I just also wanted to say that I was struggling for a while to really make that separation where personal ends and business begins and vice versa. For example, my son is a baseball player, so Saturday, Sunday comes. It's the busiest days for real estate professionals in terms of open houses and showings. So what do? Do I go watch my son play, or do I take a buyer who might or might not buy? So it's always a choice that we are making, and it was challenging for me to really separate. And then I realized that you know what, this is my client, but then through transaction we develop very nice personal relationship that's now even deeper, and now they're my friends. Or this is my friends or baseball parents, and now they would like to either buy or sell a house. So they became my clients. So where's that fine line? And when I actually stopped looking for this fine line and allowed these two universes to collide, that's when magic happened. Because you can be on a baseball field and still conduct your business because everybody always wants to talk about real estate, right? Or you can take a client out and then really start having a conversation and going much deeper and talking about certain things that you'll see that you're in complete alignment and you develop personal relationships. So that is in terms of this separation. My two universes collide. This is me. This is who I am. And frankly, my business for me is like another child. Sometimes child one or two needs attention, or sometimes child number three, which is my business, needs attention. And so that's how you balance that. So now going back to a week that looks semi-balanced. So let's say if you are able to fit, let's say going to the gym 3-4 times a week, having some time to meditate or to relax, having certainly a lot of productive hours that you dedicate to your business and developing your career. Spend some time with your parents. Spend time with your family, your spouses, your partners, your children. Also allocate time to spend with your friends. If you can fit all of these building blocks within a week, where it's almost impossible to do all of this in one day, correct? So trying to do all of this in one day most likely will leave us unsatisfied or feeling like, no, we're completely off balance. But to me, if I was able to fit most of the things in the course of a week, that's balanced week for me. So that's how I looked at balance.
Wow. So I got a lot out of that. Number one, giving yourself permission not to have to find that fine line. That I think is brilliant because so many people struggle to find that separation. And I'm thinking to myself, just last evening I hosted a group of ladies who I thought would enjoy each other's company for a picnic at Movies in the Park, which is a fun casual event in my town. And most of them were clients, but not all of them. and it was a beautiful blend of those two worlds. And I agree with you that in our profession, a lot of times they become one and shift. But I also really appreciate your comments about looking at a longer term for that sense of balance, right? In a week, did you have enough activities that satisfied your personal health, your spirituality, or your professional goals, but not looking at it in such a day to day thing? I think that's something that will be very helpful for our audience.
Great.
So as we wind up our time together, um, I want to challenge you to think about words of wisdom, right? Any advice that you would give to other real estate professionals who are looking to focus on the luxury segment.
Well, there's no secret to anyone's success. It's truly hard work and hanging in there. And I think patience is super important. I also strongly believe in continue to elevating yourself on a lot of different levels, and mostly professionally, with education, with attending different seminars, learning from the best. This is extremely important. So always stay hungry for education. Always continue to elevate your game. And last but not least, in our business, we have to start thinking that the industry is changing and we are changing. Therefore, we not, and it's up to us as real estate professionals, especially in the luxury market arena, is to continue to change the perception about industry and continue to stay focused on being an advisor and trusted advisor to our clients. And I think that that respect and the experience and the information and the knowledge that we share will certainly help us to achieve that goal.
And I couldn't agree more. I think we all underestimate sometimes our responsibility to elevate the perception of our industry, and it plays hand in hand with our growth and success. So, one more question, and that is, what's on your bucket list, whether personally or professionally? What's something big that you want to accomplish or experience in, let's say, the next 12 months?
Great question. A lot on my bucket list. So, as I mentioned earlier, I really enjoyed now working in the new development arena. And so I'm successfully handling two major projects on North Shore of Long Island. One of them is being branded residences, Ritz-Carlton residences, where I got involved about 2 years ago, and we now coming to completion in terms of the availability and inventory. Out of 230 units, we have just a handful of units left. So we're working on another successful project, and that takes a lot of time, but it's also extremely exciting to really see how the face of North Shore of Long Island is changing and this luxury community is coming to play, the convenience, the legendary service. And I think that that's what luxury consumer, luxury buyers, luxury clients are actually looking for, because their expectations are this experience and the level of service that, let's say, Ritz-Carlton residences have to provide. So that's kind of one thing. On a personal level, I would like to go to Europe. We have 2 trips planned for the next 4 months. One is with my daughter once she finishes her freshman year in college, and end of summer, me and my husband and some of our friends. So that's another great thing. And also, I think just bring more joy into my daily life. And on that, I'm working consistently. And what's joy? Sometimes we run for these big bucket list items. but completely overlook what's kind of in front of us. And what's in front of us is day-to-day interactions with people that we love most. So my goal is to continue to bring more warmth and love and soul into these relationships. I'm talking primarily about my parents that are with me, and I love them dearly. They're huge support and inspiration for me, as well as my friends and also my colleagues that I admire and always look up to. So that's pretty much what's on the horizon for the next 12 months, and I hope much further out.
Outstanding. And I'm pretty sure that those thoughts are going to resonate with the audience, and that there are some smiles out there for the concept of bringing more joy to one's life, whatever that looks like. And so, Maria, I
Absolutely.
can't thank you enough for sharing your time and for your continued support as a member, and congratulate you on your continued success. And I so look forward to seeing you again in person soon, and to continuing the professional relationship from our various states. So, with that, I'm going to wrap us up. And I want to thank you all in the audience so much for joining us on this episode of A State of Mind, the art of selling luxury real estate. If you're interested in learning more about the Institute, you can find more at luxuryhomemarketing.com. If you like what you just heard, please share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.